Hello everyone, this is Jim Krasinski with your lecture video number 1 on SA3 here on posting this on Tuesday morning, well, maybe Tuesday midday by the time I finish up. So briefly like to discuss SA3 and the modules. We are working through the readings this week in the discussion board posts that are due. I just want to head over to the unit here. Once again, I want to remind everybody that the learning materials that are included and posted in the folder in the Drive account, you can get them there, or there is a PDF here if you want to click on the learning materials and print yourself a copy. You can do that, or you can just download it and save it. So, SA3, your target assessment. The instructions here are writing a proposal. So your topic is a problem you have experienced so far in attending community college or a problem about higher education as a whole. So the proposal argument by definition is a problem solution. You're going to propose a problem and you're going to establish and advocate for a solution to that problem. Now, this needs to be one focused problem. It's not a laundry list of problems because Lord knows higher education and even community college has a laundry list of problems. But the focus is here is on a specific problem, right? So the inquiry questions is what is the problem and what should be done about it? It's really straightforward. So your task is to write a proposal essay by integrating outside sources to help resolve a problem you care about in higher education. You can use your personal experiences as academic evidence to support your proposal argument. So let me be clear, this is an argument structure, a proposal structure, okay? This is not a narrative style where you have the opportunity to vent, okay, about higher education and some of the problems you have encountered. Now, you certainly can use an example from your life and your journey through higher education to support your overall argument, but please, once again, this is not a runaway narrative about higher education and your struggles, right? So the essay should address a problem that is of consequence and of manageable scale, including the problem's cause and effects. So there's a problem, okay? So let's say, for example, it's costs. So cost is always a problem for higher education. Well, what causes higher education to be so expensive? Is it a lack of state funding, a lack of federal funding? Is it the institutions are not run effectively in themselves, right? And what are the effects of it? So, for example, cause would be a high tuition and housing cost at a four-year university. Well, the effect out of that then is if you don't make enough money or can't get enough of aid from the state or federal outlets to pay for it, then you have to take on student loan debt. So basically, student loan debt is the effects of high tuition for most people, right? Or you can talk about student loan debt being a problem after you do get out and how you navigate life, right? So the effect of student loan debt would be maybe reduced family formation or not buying a house or not buying a really, nice car because you have to make monthly student loan payments. So this is the cause and effect relationship between some of the topics here, all right? Your essay must prove evidence of the seriousness of the problem and for some ways to solve it and justifying these solution over alternatives. For example, there are many ways to argue that cost is a serious problem, and it is, right? But what are the solutions? You want to be like, like Bernie, free college? Well, that's great. As Milton Friedman said, there is no free college. Somebody has to pay for it. Institutions cost money, and professors cost money, classrooms cost money. All of that costs money. Now, who pays for that particular part of higher education? How do you go about it? All right. So think about that as you move forward here and work through the activities of the unit. You can draw on your experience, but you should use outside sources. So for this assignment, we are using standard MLA citation, both in text, and each essay must include a works cited page. You need a minimum of 3 outside sources for your essay 3. This is a scaffolding type of essay assignment to prepare you for COM 102, where the focus in COM 102 is actually research and writing. So you get some experience in doing some research, and you'll get some experience in working with in-text citations and using and citing sources, and also composing a works cited page. So I say here your proposal is appropriate in both form and content to your purpose and audience. Now the purpose and audience in this particular assignment is all of your classmates, right? Normally in a classroom I'd say look around, everybody looks at each other, and you would assume then you are understanding of the audience, right? I am not the audience here. Okay, your proposal should be balanced and accurate by avoiding sweeping generalizations and inaccurate assertions. So, like I mentioned, you got to have free college. Well, that's great, but how do we get there, right? And make sure you're accurate in your assertions, because sometimes you have to be clear in what you're arguing for and what you're using as evidence, all right? If I see sweeping generalizations or something that is just not accurate, I will call you on that as we move through the unit and let you know some of the really errors in your thinking process there. The proposal must reflect a respectful and informed tone supported by evidence discovered through research. Since the proposal is a persuasive argument, its success relies on avoiding logical fallacies and developing the solutions to a problem. It's just what I just mentioned. So this essay is going to be a little bit longer. All right, essay 3 has got to be 1,200 to 1,500 words and be formatted according to MLA guidelines as stated in the syllabus. I have a proposal essay example. I say it's from a previous class, and I qualify this by saying no student essay is perfect. However, it is a good overall example of a focused topic. This one was about textbooks and the cost of textbooks, and it has an organizational pattern of problem then solution. So let me be clear, and we'll get into this in a future lecture video about how to organize this. You can also read in the learning materials either here in Canvas or in the Drive account. Obviously, we're not in class, so I can't give you a printed version. I would suggest strongly after this lecture video that you review the learning materials, because it'll give you some really good information on how to put this essay together. I say, remember, this is a previous course and my assignment differs from class to class. That's why reading and following the assignment instructions are critical. So just be aware, it's an example. It gives you some kind of idea of the structure of a problem solution format. Now what I've done with the help of the great people at the Moraine Valley Library is put together some resources for you. So I've got the links to the PDFs for the two articles for this week's discussion board. As I say here, I have an interesting video for you to watch after you've completed the discussion board. Also, the librarian, especially since we had a session scheduled with Tish Hayes in the library, I think the first week of April, she provided a bunch of resources for us. So if you click on the link here, it'll demonstrate a GDoc that is sitting in the SA3 proposal folder with links to all of her sources that she would normally have reviewed during our library session. So you can look at that. Also, Tish Hayes gave me a link to Ask a Librarian. You can click on that and be able to consult a librarian in the Moraine Valley Library. They are not on site. The library is closed at this time, but they are working remotely. So they should be able to assist you. Also, there is a YouTube video here of how to obtain and search for digital material, right? So hopefully
Hey everyone.
you can, if you want to look for some digital material, you can do that too. All right, so I've completed this research portion sometime this morning. It is a guide there for you to start looking at possible research and topics, right? Let's go back to the assignment here. Now, I mentioned in the schedule about viewing the documentary, The Ivory Tower. All right, I left it as being optional for this week. I would like to point out it is a CNN documentary. You might be able to find it out on Netflix, or you might be able to find it free somewhere. Usually everybody's charging for it like $2.99. I own a copy, usually play this in class, so I'm not asking you to spend any money. I might have mentioned this in the screencast, but it does give you a solid background of higher education and how it's evolved over the last, like 200, 250 years, and where it all came from. So if you have the opportunity and you want to, and you can't afford to view it, I suggest it. It's an interesting documentary. All right. That's all I have for this lecture video. Be aware that as we move forward, we'll talk about using and citing sources, some of the problem solution and cause and effect relationships. I've got some additional documents and material to upload to both the Drive folder and Canvas. All right. So be safe and good luck.